tit for tat on speed, but hopefully I got the power against him.
He's been making a statement, you know, the way he's finishing the fights. Demetrius has impeccable defense, so John.
I want to see who's truly the fastest. I want to make sure the fans get what they want to see. Explosion, intensity, an all-out fight.
I'm gonna make sure I can come out with my hand raised, have that belt around my waist, and keep on moving forward.
As John Dodson prepares for a shot at the UFC title, just as his brother has always been there for him, the #1 flyweight contender finds time for his brother's amateur career.
This would be my second amateur fight. My first one, I did pretty good. So this one, I think the expectation is pretty high for me to do good, especially with my brother and our training camp.
Can't wait for my brother to fight. It's like one of the most exciting things for me, you know? I'm doing the sport, he's doing it, and he's been training with me alongside. Me and him used to travel all the time. When I had no cornerman, he'd go out there with me. Like, now I get to go do it for him, and it's kind of exciting, yeah.
I love coaching my brother, but I hate.
He actually did an excellent job tonight. Toughed it out, gassed him. His legs were giving out on him, and he still pushed the pace. You did good, brother. So proud of you.
Ultimately, as each day passes, John Dodson closes in on completing his lifelong quest.
So many people told him he wouldn't make it, and he was too small, and this and that, and UFC wouldn't pick him up. He just kept fighting towards it, kept working towards his own goal, regardless of who told him he couldn't do it. And everybody who told him negative things is kind of eating their words because he's getting his title shot.
I know going into this fight, I'm gonna be the underdog, the guy that's everyone wishing that I get knocked out. But whatever was gonna work, I'm gonna do it. They wonder why my name is Magician. And I'm not gonna show the sparks, I'm gonna show the magic when I come in January 26th.
Training is...
We're not trying to make him a fast swimmer. We're trying to make him a good fighter. Go! Explode, DJ. Explode, explode, come on. Faster, faster, come on.
I might have maybe 3 hours in between sessions, or I might have 6 hours in between training session, and I can't go back home because I live too far away from the gym.
I stay in my little 5'3" bed.
A lot of people say, you're crazy, man. Why don't you just move up to Kirkland? I'm like, no. Training's up here, but at home, that's where my life is.
You know, he's at the gym all the time, and I'm home doing whatever I need to do around the house. But when he's home, I just like being by his side, really. So anywhere that is, I'm happy.
That's one of the huge sacrifices I make to train with the best in the world.
So I told him, quit your job because you're going to be the champion.
He didn't want my mind to be focused on just being a champion. Because if that was the case, then I'm the gas tank to go 5 rounds and push. He's just explosive, that's all he is. He's never put the pressure on somebody. He waits, he waits, he waits. I got you. What happens if he doesn't get you?
You know, a lot of people look at it as a fight as two people on the street getting mad at each other and throwing their fists or, you know, trying to hurt each other. For me, it's completely different. A fight is a game of chess.
I know what's on the line. I know that my career's on the line. I know that my well-being's on the line. I want to go into the fight healthy, strong, faster, better. You haven't seen the best Mighty Mouse yet.
With a January 26th date with Destiny on the horizon, rhythms and sounds rise to a crescendo.
See a lot of offense in this 45 seconds. Keep working, it's supposed to hurt. Let's go. I need to get better. Go, let's turn it up now, come on. I wanna get down.
I was never one for running my mouth. It was always, you say win and it's let's go. You know, if someone bows up, it's on.
I'm
hungry, man. I'm out here training, getting my body right, and sacrificing a lot to get to the belt.
If I can, keep him on his heels and dump him, that's kind of my game plan. To whip that ass.
I show off with my fists and my hands, so I just can't wait to put my hands on him.
I'm an entertainer first, fighter second. My main objective is to go out there and to entertain the fans.
I'm gonna knock this guy out. I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna throw my punches, sharp, and I'm gonna knock him out.
I'm pretty sure that he's gonna pretend like he's gonna stand with me, try to take me down. A lot of fighters don't have that destroyer instinct anymore.
He come to fight, and he wants someone to fight him. I'm gonna fight him.
My main objective is to have the referee to pull me off him. This is my last fight in the UFC. I want to leave on a high note.
I'm gonna make sure I can come out, my hand raised, have that belt around my waist, and keep on moving forward. Now I get a chance to punch him in the face, and have him punch me in the face, and then making an all-out war that people would want to see.
He spends a lot of time in gymnastics. I rather spend my time doing other things. I think the people that he's hit and knocked out, they weren't on his level.
His route is to play that tippy-tap game so they can win rounds. I actually go out and go try to finish fights.
I think he has the pressure that I'm gonna stand there in front of him and let him hit me. It's not gonna happen.
In 1 week's time, the Windy City beckons as the Octagon reveals truth and consequences.
This fight with Cerrone, I just see myself just putting a whooping on him. I can beat him anywhere.
I'm a tough son of a bitch, though. If he thinks he's just gonna steamroll right over me, then he's got nothing coming.
I think Quentin Jackson, he's a very tough guy, but I'm planning to knock him out.
153 is all it took.
He says he's gonna come stand up and try to knock me out. I doubt that. I'm the fighter that when you watch, you know you're gonna get your money's worth.
Fighting Demetrius Johnson for this world title. When I bring my best performance, I'm gonna have my hand raised at the end of the night. DJ brings his best performance, I'm still gonna have my hand raised at the end of the night.
He's just explosive, that's all he is. I want to go in the fight strong, faster, better. You haven't seen the best Mighty Mouse yet.
Every clash inside the Octagon begins with one fighter's desire for mixed martial arts greatness, pitted against another fighter with the exact same goal. For the past 6 weeks, 6 men have prepared for career-defining tests at Fox UFC Saturday, January 26th in Chicago, featuring a long-awaited duel between 2 next-level athletes. A resurgent superstar facing off with a fearsome rising contender, and an explosive main event with a UFC title on the line. With incredible speed and an action-packed style, Demetrius Johnson won a thrilling 4-man tournament to become the first ever title holder in the UFC's dynamic new 125-pound weight class. But John Dodson, arguably the most athletic fighter in any division, believes that if he had been chosen for the initial flyweight tournament, the strap would already be his. And in the main event, Dodson will get the chance to back up those words. Donald Cowboy Cerrone has long lived up to his nickname with a fearless approach, trademark toughness, and a flair for dramatic finishes. But for Cowboy, the road to the lightweight title runs through rival Anthony Showtime Pettis, who once defeated current lightweight champion Benson Henderson with the most breathtaking, gravity-defying move ever executed in competition. But the path to Chicago begins with Glover Teixeira, the heavy-handed protege of UFC legend Chuck Liddell, who has steamrolled 17 straight with potent striking and precision grappling. Taking on Quentin Rampage Jackson, the former UFC champion whose fearsome presence and knockout power have made him into a global MMA icon. Much has changed for Rampage Jackson since he first trained in Northwest England nearly a decade ago. But one thing that has never wavered is his self-confidence.
Most of the time when I'm running, I'm thinking about destroying my opponent. The other stuff that goes in my head, I can't even recall, but I have to destroy him. To me, even a boring victory is a loss. I like to beat people up. I like for the referee to pull me off them. I like to knock people out. I like to finish people. I like for people to think like, wow, I don't want to do that no more. The new fans, they don't know anything about my history. They just seen my UFC fights that they've seen.
Rampage Jackson rose to become one of the most feared
First, before we get the guys out, I'm going to bring a gentleman out here in a minute. He was a graduate of Eastern Illinois University, where he was a two-time All-American NCAA Division I wrestler. He is tied with George St. Pierre right now for the most title fights in a welterweight division at 12, and most successful welterweight title defense is at 7. He's got the most wins in the UFC with 18, coached The Ultimate Fighter twice. He's a former two-time welterweight champion, and he is a UFC Hall of Famer. I'm here today to announce the retirement of Matt Hughes. And when I talk about retiring, he's retiring from, obviously, fighting. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be with this company for a very long time. You know, Matt's been very successful inside the octagon, outside the octagon. He's been a very loyal guy to us. He's been, you know, you guys always hear me talk about, as we were building this company back in the early days, you know, it was like the Wild Wild West back then. It's hard to explain, but, you know, there were always, you know, a few guys that I knew that I could count on, and Matt Hughes was one of those guys. And when I say count on him, Matt Hughes would always, I remember being at press conferences like this, and everybody would start asking, hey, Hughes, wasn't this the last fight on your contract? And he'd be sitting here saying, yes, I do not have a contract with the UFC, but I am with the UFC. And just, there's a laundry list of things. He was the guy that I always knew that if I had to pick up the phone and I needed something, you know, a last-minute replacement, I needed him to take this fight or that fight, Matt Hughes never said no to anything, fighting anybody or, you know, doing whatever he needed to help build the sport and build this brand. So Matt Hughes will be, his new role with the UFC, he's no longer the welterweight champion, will be Vice President of Athlete Development and Government Relations. And to expand on what that means and exactly what he's going to be doing and talking about the code of conduct here at the UFC is UFC's Chief Operating Officer, Lawrence Epstein. Let me bring him up here for a second.
Dana, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We're really excited here today to make this announcement. It's really two announcements, as Dana indicated. The first and the most important part of this thing is Matt Hughes coming on board as our Vice President of Athlete Development and also involved in government relations. The second thing is the implementation of a written code of conduct for UFC athletes. And I think as you think about these two announcements, you really got to think about them really as one, because they are very important to be, there's going to be a huge connection between what Matt does and also with our new code of conduct. One comment on the code of conduct, just to take care of that, it really isn't something that's new. It is something, frankly, that for the first time has been put in writing. But we've always felt that our athletes need to live up to a high level of conduct and make sure that everything they're doing, obviously both inside the octagon and outside, is in compliance with the high standards of the UFC. This whole situation really started, frankly, when we took a look at the sports landscape and looked at what all the other major sports leagues were doing, like the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, et cetera. And we also took a look at what some of the associations are doing. I think, as many of you know, the UFC's relationship with its athletes is an independent contractor relationship. It's not a relationship like the NFL where they're actually employees of the team. So we looked at some of those organizations which have similar legal models. What we discovered is those organizations had an individual who was responsible for what they call athlete development, and of course what we're calling athlete development also. And the role of that person was first and foremost to be a mentor, to try to provide experience, to hopefully keep guys out of trouble, to stop them from making mistakes that could affect both their career and could, of course, tarnish the image of mixed martial arts in the UFC. And we, as I said, we looked around, we saw there were athletes, former athletes that were holding these positions in all the major sports leagues. And as Dana indicated, we took a look at our roster of athletes and take a look at, in particular, those who had built the sport, which Matt Hughes clearly has done. We also took a look at the record of those individuals, and I think Matt Hughes' record, not just as a fighter, but as an individual, is frankly second to none. He's a great guy. He's done lots of good works during his career, and he's always held himself to the highest ethical standards. So Matt is going to be that guy for us. He's going to be the mentor to, frankly, all of our 400-plus UFC athletes that are currently with us and those that will come in the future. He comes with a very, very unique set of experiences. He obviously has been at the highest level of our sport, being a champion. He understands what it takes to go from being a virtually unknown person to someone who is incredibly famous, and all sort of the challenges that come along with that. And he's going to be providing that perspective to our athletes. Once again, this development is really an extension of what we've been trying to do to try to make the UFC the best place in the world for athletes, and have the experience and the relationship that we have with our athletes, frankly, to be second to none. That started originally when Dana bought the company. I mean, you know, I don't think anybody is more focused on the relationships with athletes than Dana White is. He's you know, got incredible relationships with these guys, has helped, taken care of, acted as a mentor, and it all started with that. Some of the other significant achievements we've had over the years include the development of the fighter health care program, where we provide health care to all of our athletes, regardless of where they're located, if they're injured in training. And once again, that's another important achievement we have. But this one today is, I think, sort of the next step in the evolution of that experience between UFC athletes and the organization. And we're just so excited to have Matt Hughes to be on board with us, to be the guy who's going to be a mentor to all of our athletes. And as I said, make the experience of being a UFC athlete, frankly, the best in the world. So with that, we'd like to roll a quick video. Go ahead and roll it.
He's a fighter. You either are or you aren't, and Matt Hughes is.
Matt Hughes was the most dominant champion of his time. He dominated the sport just as much as Royce Gracie dominated the sport at his time.
Matt, in his prime, is the most dangerous man you can ever meet. Everybody that he beat up was a top 10 guy, and he beat the living crap out of every single one of us.
Matt Hughes is going to go down in the history books as just one of the most dominant welterweight champions ever.
He's the greatest welterweight of all time. He really is.
He dominated the weight class. He broke records. He beat the greatest fighters of his era, the best 170-pounder to ever live.
Are you kidding me? In my eyes, he built me. He built George St. Pierre. He built us. I owe it to Matt Hughes. He built the sport.
One day when I grow up, I'll be able to tell my kids that I fought at the same time as Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes with a submission, and it's all over!
Matt Hughes' legacy? Hell, his legacy is the best champ the UFC has ever had. Ever. To this date, best champ they've ever had. That's his legacy.
You know, there's going to be a point where I retire. But when people look back and they think about Matt Hughes, I just want them to think I'm a fierce competitor that doesn't like to lose and loves to compete.
I'm so honored to induct you into the UFC Hall of Fame. Matt Hughes is one of these guys who is a pioneer in this sport and has helped this sport evolve. And during his reign, he evolved with it. You know, he's this incredibly dominant fighter. He never says no. He'll take on anybody, anywhere, anytime. And he's an incredibly loyal guy and has become part of the UFC family. And will always be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Hughes.
It's funny the road God puts you on. You just don't know where you're going to end up. What started out as a hobby brought me to the UFC and here in front of you now. I love this sport, and the new position is the best way for me to stay in it moving forward. I look forward to using my experience and providing a perspective for both the UFC and the fighters. So thank you guys.
A man of few words. So we'll move along here. We'll get the press conference going. Lawrence and Matt will be here also. If any of you guys want to talk to them after the press conference, they'll be available. Thanks for your time. All right, let's bring in the Fox card.
That's right, baby. I'm dangerous. Here we go, baby. I'm gonna knock you clean out.
Fox UFC Saturday, live, January 26th.
All right, so we're here. We're excited. Back in Chicago. The response has been fantastic. Who's got the first question? Kevin?
Question for Anthony. Anthony, do you regret your decision to take the fight with Guida, because now you're 2 years past the Showtime kick and everything, and here you are still without a title fight, still having to win another fight to have a chance?
No, I mean I don't regret it at all. I mean I had to have that happen for me to get to where I'm at now. So he exposed the hole in my game. You know, me and my coaches went back. We covered that hole, and I feel like I'm a complete fighter now. So I mean that happening to me was a good thing for me.
How did you change specifically then? What happened? What did you learn from the fight with Guida that you've taken and you anticipate we'll see against Cerrone?
Just understanding that if I don't finish the fight with a knockout or a submission, I better be up on the judges' scorecards when that fight ends.
Well, that, obviously everybody wants to be up on the judges' scorecard. Were there anything tactically that you realized against Clay that maybe I didn't do right, that I had to evolve and change my game?
Yeah, I mean just being too comfortable on my back. I mean I was on my back attacking for submissions. In my head I thought I was going to submit him, so I wasn't worried about standing back up, getting to my safe area. So I mean just understanding, if I can't submit him right away, get up, get to my strong point and keep moving.
Thank you. And Donald, I wonder if I can ask you, you had gotten so close to the title with that great year when you lost the fight to Nate, and I wonder how that affected you and how you've kind of turned around coming back after getting so close and losing that fight, how you've gotten yourself back up near the top.
Just going out there and fighting my ass off, man. I mean, that fight with Nate definitely sucked. Like Anthony said, expose holes in my games that I had to go back and fix, but I'm here, and I'm ready. I'm excited. This fight, I've been wanting for a long time. Anthony's excited, and I think it's going to go out there, and we're definitely going to put on Fight of the Year for sure.
Hey, guys. Ron Kruk with Inside MMA. Question for the champ, Demetrius Johnson, and challenger John Dodson. Guys, since the flyweight division was born here in the UFC, it's been met with mixed reaction. As you go into this fight, you guys have the spotlight now. Do you feel that you have the opportunity to not only maybe educate some of the casual MMA fans, but to also really show what this division is about? And I'll start with you, Demetrius.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe, with the UFC giving us the spotlight as a headline on national television on Fox, it's going to give, me and John Dodson the chance to show the world what the flyweight division can do and educate the fans as well, because if you want to get educated, this is the division to watch, because we bring everything, good conditioning, good speed, footwork, everything.
John.
It does give us an opportunity to go ahead and showcase what we are all about. 125 is that division that has more talent and trying to show the more technical aspect of the game. Granted, a lot of people are sitting there talking about us not being able to finish nobody. That just comes with the territory. If everybody's great in that whole division, it's going to be hard to get any finishes.
quick follow-up for both of you. You know, it's no secret you two are looked at as two of the fastest fighters in the UFC. So if your speed equals out, where do you feel you have the advantage in this fight? We'll start with the champ.
I agree. You know, we both have, you know, the speed, and I believe, you know, when you look down the back of the tiers, it just comes, you know, technique, fundamentals, skill set, and, you know, I'm not the type of person to go out there that says, you know, I'm better than this guy. I just let my, I showcase my skills in the octagon on Saturday night.
Follow my own game plan. I'm gonna make sure I can try to make him make more mistakes than I am. That's all I'm really going out there and do.
Question for Dana. Every fighter we talked to yesterday at the media day said they were bringing a big contingent, and everybody they knew was really excited. So, are we going to see a sold-out United Center?
Said they were bringing what? Say that again.
A big contingent. They're bringing lots of fans, friends, family. So.
Yeah. No, the gate's great. I think if we're not sold out, we talked to Pete Dropic the other day. He said we were close to selling out, so we should be. Yeah, it should be a $1.3 million gate.
Awesome. How excited are you for the fights on Saturday?
I'm very excited. No, this is a great card. You know, we had a rough year last year. A lot of injuries. It was a very weird year last year. This year has kicked off great. Everything's going smooth. Everybody that we put on this, you know, on the main card is on the main card again, which makes me very happy. And this, we're delivering the kind of cards that we knew we could deliver to Fox.
Thank you.
This one's for Donald and John, even though I can't see you. With both of you working together, you had a lot of collegiality yesterday when we were at the open workouts. And I wanted to know, what has it added to your preparation in that you're both fighting on the same card?
Huh? I didn't hear. I was too busy making fun of little John. I didn't understand what you said.
What has it added, making fun of John all through practice and all those sorts of things? What has it added to your preparation in that you guys and Clay are both on the same card?
Yeah, it's just our camaraderie down at Jackson's, man. It's, you know, it's super fun, super good environment. You know, everyone, there's no tension or anything. It's just always having a good time and playing around. At John's the best one to play around with, little baby over here, so it's fun.
Keeps on calling me a baby. What the hell? Do I really look that young?
Imagine him and little Demetrius getting off of a little coupe mini in a parking lot coming after you. I said I'll smash both you.
Hell no, I told you. I already told you that. Me and Demetrius will beat your ass. No, but getting back to your question though, like with all of us playing around, it's just like a big family. Like it's all my big brothers just sitting there trying to pick on me, not because of the height wise, but anyways.
Size.
I'm bigger than you, bitch.
A question for Demetrius. Yesterday, John was talking about the cold and how it needed, you know, he needed a few minutes or maybe a few hours or a day even to get acclimated because he has very little body fat, right? Because, you know, obviously, pretty small guy. You're obviously the same size as him. Did you feel like you needed the same time? Like, is it affecting you? Does it hurt as you're trying to cut weight?
Before I answer this question, I want to see your shoes.
Oh, okay. Do you
Please.
Really?
I do.
Well, all right. This is awkward.
Oh, they're the same ones. Okay.
Yeah, they're the same ones.
No, I feel fine. I feel great. Washington's cold, so it is pretty cold out here, but my body feels good, and I'm ready to go.
Okay, so it wasn't sort of a rude awakening, if you will, because it is colder here than in Washington, right?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely colder, but, you know, I fought in Toronto. Toronto was pretty cold. It was almost like this, and, you know, I fought there. At 125, so I feel great. You know, it's cold, but I'm ready to go.
Okay, and a question for Rampage. If I don't mean to well, are you playing PS3? What is that? Okay, right here. Have you had a chance to talk to Dana while you're here in Chicago?
No, I haven't talked to him. Want me to use this? No, I haven't. I just saw him right now, first time.
Will you try to talk to him before?
We talked before, man. Me and Dana, we on a, you know what I'm saying, mutual little standpoint right now. It's time for me to focus on my fight, not focus on anything else. Dana and I, we already had our fights. We good. Me and Dana cool.
Do you echo that sentiment?
Yeah, I do.
You know, he's on an impressive winning streak. But when you look at the guys he's fought, even in the UFC and outside the UFC, do you think he's fought anyone as tough as you?
No, hell no. He ain't never faced nobody like me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Right up here in the front. Oh, wait, we'll get this guy. We'll get you next.
Dana, what do you expect viewership for the Fox card? And do you expect any summer events in Chicago?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have no idea with viewership. Obviously, I'm hoping we pull good numbers. That's what we're always hoping. Our last two, the last Fox fight on Saturday, it was the most watched show in the history of FX Network with people 18 to 49. Most watched show in FX's history with people 18 to 49. The Ultimate Fighter had a great number on Tuesday, and I'm hoping we pull a good number on Saturday too. And then, yeah, I'd like to come back to Chicago when the weather is nice. Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
Dana, with everything, all the moving facets of the UFC and everything, all the moving pieces and brands and assets, how do you manage your stress?
I love what I do. I wouldn't say that I'm ever really stressed. There's challenges every day. Every day there's, you've heard me say this a million times. Bad shit happens every day that we got to deal with. But I love it. I love this sport, and I'm never really stressed.
Gotcha.
To be honest with you.
Okay. Would you ever consider doing a celebrity Ultimate Fighter?
Meaning what? Like celebrities come in and fight?
No, as judges.
Celebrity judges? Oh, they couldn't
Or
fuck it up any
coaches,
worse
coaches.
than the judges we have now.
So no.
Maybe. I have no say over the judges. So.
No, that's cool. Another question. How are they addressing the concussions issues when it comes to full contact sports? Like, are you doing something similar to boxing and football? How are you guys addressing it?
Well, the difference between the NFL, I make this reference all the time. In the NFL, they have a season, and in that season, you can't have Brady out for an entire season. So guys end up getting put back into the game. And I know that the NFL is doing a lot of stuff. If you get a concussion or if you get knocked out, you don't fight here you can't do anything for 3 months. And the only way you get to come back is if a doctor clears you. Completely different. A guy in the UFC, if that happens to him, he can take as much time as he needs to recover.
I just have a quick fire round of questions since we're in Chicago. Sox or Cubs?
Well, I'm a Sox fan. You talk about White Sox. Oh, I'm a Red Sox fan. All right, White Sox or Cubs? I don't care.
Valid. Deep dish or thin crust?
Deep.
Very deep. Ketchup on a hot dog or not?
No.
Sears or Willis Tower?
What?
Sears or Willis Tower?
I've never been to
Never
either.
Okay.
No.
Greatest basketball player of all time?
Jordan.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana, I was wondering real quick if you could tell us definitively if the Coke Lamas fight, the Cowboy Pettis fight, that is for sure #1 contender fights for each of those divisions? Not willing to say for sure because of what's happened in the past?
It's just, you know what, you guys always ask me these questions either before or after the fight, and we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday night. I don't know if one of these guys is going to get injured and can't be the next guy in line, so it's so hard to say.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Ms. Goom from MMA Viking.
Hi.
And I have a question regarding you now finally bringing female fighters into the UFC.
Yeah.
What made you decide to finally bring us in?
Well, the talent level, obviously, there's been no secret about how I feel about Ronda Rousey. And after the Miesha Tate Ronda Rousey fight, I became interested. And, in the 135-pound division for the women with Ronda coming in, there's 3 or 4 good fights. And I think that if the thing is successful and takes off, I think you'll see more. There's so many women out there that are in competitive wrestling, judo, or some other type of martial arts or combat sports. And I think that you'll see them start to migrate to MMA if this thing is successful.
Do you think we'll ever see MGMA, mixed gender martial arts?
Never. Not
Never.
in the UFC. No, I know it happens. I know Ronda spars with guys. I know some of the other girls spar and train with guys, but you'll never see a woman fight a guy in the UFC.
No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is for a Cowboy to start. What are your feelings now? This Hughes coming in, becoming the athlete, the head of athlete development. Having someone else watch over you, is that something you think UFC needed? And
Absolutely, 100%, man. It's cool. It's cool, especially to have someone who's been in the sport all this time doing. That way, hopefully his voice and everything matters. So he can help us all out.
Rampage, I know this is your
that was the right guy to ask too. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was rock climbing last week.
Yeah.
Rock climbing.
Yeah, I saw that tweet. And for Rampage, I know this is probably your last fight. Do you have any thoughts on Hughes coming in, taking over in this new role?
What makes you think this is my last fight?
In UFC, you said on the conference call last week.
Okay. What was your question?
Has that changed?
It's not my last fight. It's my last fight in the UFC.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm kind of tired of people saying that. Everybody assumed that I'm retiring because I'm leaving the UFC. So that stopped me from listening to the rest of your question. What was the rest of your question?
I asked about the last fight in UFC. That's what I said. And what it was, whether Hughes' new role here, what your thoughts are on that.
Oh, good for Hughes. That's good. Congratulations to him. Whatever people want to do, I'm happy for him. Whatever makes them happy. What's your thoughts on it?
What's that?
What are your thoughts on it?
It's new to me, so I'm gonna go ask you about it.
It's new to me too.
I'm a reporter. Sorry.
I learned about it the same time you did.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
A couple questions for Anthony first. Anthony, I want to ask you about your layoff. It seems like you were out after the surgery a little longer than you thought at first. Was that just you being precautious, like you said, making sure you took the right time off, or was your shoulder, hurt a little bit more than you expected?
No, initially the doctor said 6 months, before I could start training again. I wanted to get back sooner. I went back too quick, and I just reset it a little longer. So it took a little longer because I came back too fast. And then I got a staph infection. Just a whole bunch of bad things happened last year, man. So I just want to look past last year, move forward on 2013. I'm starting the year off early, and just keep going strong.
I mean, almost a whole year, like you said. What's the hardest part as a fighter, having that long of streak of inactivity?
Just watching the division develop, man. I mean, you got these guys having a whole year of fights. I mean, the Cowboys have been busy. A lot of flyweights been busy, and I wanted to be the #1 contender. I want to keep that spot. So me being off a year, I couldn't really defend it. If these guys are getting better, they're getting wins. I'm stuck on the sidelines watching. So that was hard.
And then one question for Donald, please. Donald, in the past, you always said you think you fight the best when you're not emotional going into a fight and you're more even-keeled. It seems like you're like that this week. Seems you're a little more mellow than some of the past times. Is that by design or is?
I mean, all the shit talking and getting this fight going was just getting this fight going. Now it's here and it's ready, and we're fighting in 2 days. So yeah, I'm calm, collective. I'm ready. Like I said, getting under Anthony's skin and getting him fired up is exactly what I want to do, man. And get him to take this fight and go out there and put on the show that all y'all want to see. I have no doubt in my mind he's trained, he's ready, and he's coming hard. So I want to fight with everything I got, leave nothing for the swim home, and see what it lands up.
Dana, does the code of conduct apply to you?
That's a good question. I hope not.
Well, and when I was listening to Lawrence explain it, the one thing I thought of was, like the whole thing in Minnesota when you were with Jeremy Stevens, and we don't know whether somebody's innocent or guilty, but when you're making that kind of support of a guy where you don't know whether he was innocent or guilty, doesn't that affect this whole perception issue, and then that affects the code of conduct type thing?
Well, here's the thing, and this is the way that I've always handled this. When bad stuff happens to my guys, I'm going to support my guys that have been with us. When bad stuff happens, I'm going to be there. And sometimes guys are going to be right, and sometimes guys are going to be wrong, probably. But I can tell you this: the Jeremy Stevens thing, I've known the kid for a long time. He didn't just come into the UFC for that fight, and he got into trouble. He'd been with us for a long time. I've had a lot of interaction with him. He's never been in trouble before, and
But when you look at the perception of, I don't know whether he was innocent or guilty, and I always would presume innocence. But when you look at here's a fight on national television, and you're struggling so hard to get that guy when he's been charged with a crime.
I'm not going to always worry about perception. Obviously, that's not something that I worry about. I'm going to do what I feel is right, and if it means supporting one of my guys and being there for him when he's down, I'm going to choose that every time.
Okay. And then a question for Glover. Chuck talked a lot about, it's a dangerous fight for both Rampage and for you because you were going to actually try to knock him out, but to do that you would have to stand in the pocket. Do you imagine that there's going to be large stretches of this fight where you would be standing in the pocket and trading punches with Rampage?
I just got to do a smart fight, go over there, and everybody asking me that question. It's not like a macho man thing, you know what I mean? Just going to go over there and trade with him. Stay in the pocket. I'm going to do my fight, and I'm going to try and knock him out, yeah.
Quick one for Eric and Ricardo, if I can, please. We talked yesterday about you guys maybe kind of assuming that a win could get you that next shot at the title, and you obviously heard what Dana said, that stuff happens. You never know what's going to happen. Have your thoughts on that changed in the last 24 hours, especially after hearing him say that, and do you approach things any differently now?
Honestly, right now, I'm so on this fight. I'm not even worried about it. I had an inactive year last year, a lot of ups and downs, and so right now I'm just worried about fighting, man. I'm excited to get back in there more than anything. Of course, I want a title shot. I'm here to fight the best. I want to be the best, and but I'm gonna do my work Saturday, and we'll see where it goes after that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I got one thing on my mind right now, and that's my fight with Eric. I'm not looking past him at all. He's a tough fighter, so he's all I'm concentrated on right now. What happens afterwards will happen.
Yeah, for Dana, this season, The Ultimate Fighter, you let the families watch the preliminary round for the first time. Can you talk about if you thought that made a different dynamic on the show?
Yeah, actually, I ended up liking it. I had battled with it, years before, wondering if we should or shouldn't, and I'm glad we did. It was good. It brings a lot more energy into the opening show too. With normally you could hear a pin drop in there when the guys are fighting, other than if me and the coaches have something to say about it. But I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
More questions, guys?
We'll take one more question. You got one more? Anybody up front here? Huh? No, he'll give you the mic. Go ahead.
Okay, I love the concept of brothers fighting in the UFC, like the Diaz brothers, which I appreciate the code of conduct that you're putting in place. With that, Anthony, how soon do you think that you're going to have your brother Sergio in the UFC with you?
Serge is young, man. He's 19 years old. He's gonna develop where he needs to be. I mean, like I had the WEC to develop in. Serge is in the RFA right now. Great organization. They're taking care of him. When his time's right, he'll be here. I mean, he's a very talented, very dedicated guy, and I think he'll be here soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're gonna pull this out of here. I'm gonna square these guys off for photo ops. Thank you very much. We appreciate